Hello, I'm Cheryl Beachley, and I want to welcome you to the Women's Blog interview. I hope that you have been enjoying these interviews, and it's been an encouragement to you to see some familiar faces and meet some of the women that maybe you really don't know and get to know about them. Today, my interview is with Delilah Silvani. And Delilah, you want to say hi to the women?
Hello, ladies. I miss you all. Hope to see you one of these days in church.
So, Delilah is going to share with us a little bit about herself. And we want to know, Delilah, what was it like for you growing up as a child? Where were you born? What was life like for you? Can you tell us?
Okay, I was born in a country called Philippines, which is in Southeast Asia. It's composed of 7,000 plus islands with about 700 different dialects. There are three big islands. The top one is Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. I grew up in the middle island, and I was born there and spent almost all my childhood in the same place. I'm one of the 10 children, second from the oldest, 6 girls and 4 boys. So can you believe how chaotic the house was? But as we're growing up, it's really fun. Back in the 50s and 60s, being a third world country, I grew up without electricity, telephone, refrigerator, almost say, you didn't even miss it. It's because everybody in the same neighborhood that, didn't grow up with those things or that we enjoy now. So just remember 10 of us. My father was the only breadwinner. My mom stayed at home, busy taking care of children. She was having babies almost every year to every 2 years. So being the second the family, I took care of almost all of them when I'm off school. So I grew up in the same place. Our house is still there, just been renovated. We've been living that same house for 70 years, not till me and my older sister built a separate house 2 years ago. I went to elementary school. We just walked from the house to the school. Then I went to another town. This is like 4 miles away for high school. It was a fun childhood in spite of our being not really poor, because we had 3 meals a day. We never missed a meal. Clothes in our back, roof in our head, and Dad was a very good financial. Budgeting for 10 children. Just imagine 10 kids. Okay, just imagine I'm here on this table, 5 there, 5 there. My parents. And he emphasized more on education and discipline and just be a good child. Okay, so that's basically my, I didn't miss any of the, modern technologies here now. But I said, when I go back to my country and I don't have the same technology here, it's nothing new for me, because I grew up with all those, no electricity, no telephone. But it's what's different now. Everything almost is modern now. We have cell phones, we have TV, we have internet. Okay, so the games we played, we made our own games with my brothers and sisters, with my neighbors. No, nothing is electronic. Anything, we made our own Filipino games, which was indeed fun. Yeah.
That's wonderful, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
So as you got older, did you go away to school, or when did you come to the United States?
Okay, so I first spent my 6 years in elementary in where I grew up, and then the next town, 4 years in high school. And then I went to college in the next city, which is, let me see, 100 kilometers, probably like 60 plus miles away. But it took forever to be in that, to drive taking a bus. No, we didn't have a car growing up. Public transportation going from my one island to another province or a city, probably to another city where I went to school. It took 4 hours, 5 hours to be there. So you have to stay the whole semester. I stayed in one of those, we call it boarding houses or an apartment where you stayed with 2 or 3 girls in one room, and the owner of the house cooks for your food. They can do your laundry. And then it's my school is really historical one. It was founded in 1905. It's over 100 years old now, but it's much different now. That place was founded by an American Rockefeller, the philanthropist Rockefeller. He
Right.
donated the money, and there was a missionary named God. We had so many American missionaries, but it was under the auspices of American Baptist Foreign Mission Society, that school started it as a Harrow Industrial School for boys to learn how to do labor, to work for their tuition. And then they also built a Bible school for Christian men to become ministers. And the other school was for women, Christian women to be ministers. And then after that was incorporated to a Central Philippine College. Yeah, it's really, the motto of this school is called Scientia et Fides in Latin, which means knowledge and faith. That's really where my Christian faith started. Well, I grew up in a Christian family too, but the missionaries lived there we had American presidents from the school was started from 1905 to 1966 when the first Filipino president took over. Yeah, that's where I went for my nursing school. I had my BS in nursing, that's university, and I had my training in a hospital called Iloilo Mission Hospital. And this is another historical hospital. It's the first American Protestant hospital in the whole country. It was actually founded in 1901, 4 years before the university, by an American doctor missionary, Dr. Valentine. I think it's Dr. Valentine. Yeah, it was under Presbyterian. It was a Presbyterian missionary. And then later on, the college did our training in there. So the first graduate the hospital were 3 Filipino nurses way back in 1901, 1902. So yeah, I had my so it's what I said, I had my 5-year BSN program in that university. I had my training in that same hospital and then worked there for a year and came to America after a year of working in that hospital. So I've been in this country since 1974 and I retired in 2016. So I've been a nurse for 46 some years.
Wow.
Yeah. I first came to New Jersey, worked for 2 years, and then I went to Texas and worked for 2 years, and then came to Baltimore. I worked in the same hospital for 38 years when I retired in 2016. Yeah.
Wow.
So that was my adult life. I've never been married, but all my nieces and nephews, I think I took care of my brothers and sisters that they're all my children,
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
have 60 nieces and nephews, 3 great nieces. So I think that's more than enough for me to have my own children. And we are so close, we're so close, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Aw.
So
Well, do you have any hobbies, Delilah? Anything that you like to do in your free time, or now that you're retired, is there something that you're finding that you're enjoying?
yeah. Even before I retired, when during vacation, I like to travel.
Mm-hmm.
traveled within the US and in Europe. And of course, it like to went home to my country, the Philippines, to visit my folks almost every 1, 2, or 3 years, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, traveling is really, I mean, part of my really what I call hobby and yeah, life. Yeah. And then I like to read um, different books, all kinds of books, fiction, biographies, some kind of some romance novels too. Some not too cerebral, you know, to get a break.
Right, right.
Yeah, um, yeah, espionage books, mystery books.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I would put some Christian books. Yeah, the one I love most is the 50 Christian Women. 50, yeah, it's every woman should read about. Yeah, they're about missionaries. I got that idea when Herb gave a sermon about that a year, 2 years ago. Yeah, I bought that book and it's really interesting. Missionaries like, you know, British missionaries, American missionaries, about slavery, those who, you know, help with the slavery, and also like Mother Teresa, Florence Nightingale, Harriet Tubman, Hannah More, the one here in Ricestown Road, that school. Yeah, she was in that book.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, yeah, it's really an interesting book. And the other Christian books that I like is one of Max Lucado in about anxiety. I think
Mm.
we did that in our small group. Yeah, yeah. So and well now, and I play some. I used to play ping pong. I love to play table tennis. I used to have one in my house when I had my townhouse in the basement. Yeah, but now, you know, I don't have a house. I'm just renting a place here with my friend, and there's nobody to play ping pong. But when I travel, I see a ping pong table. You know, I just get somebody who can you play ping pong with me.
Uh,
That's like when I went on cruises.
right,
Yeah, there's always you know, recreation there. There's ping pong, so I play with whoever is there.
right.
Yeah.
I think they have one over in the youth annex. Maybe sometime you ought to grab somebody and go over to the youth annex and pick up a
Well,
game of ping pong.
yeah. Yeah, I love to do that. Well, I even when I went home to the Philippines, I got one of my brothers to get me ping pong. I brought my ping pong racket, my balls, and my brother just provided the table, and we bought a net. Yeah, but it was too hot
Nice.
really to play back in the Philippines, you know, because it was
Okay.
outside. Yeah.
Hmm.
So, what other hobbies do I have? Yeah, I guess that's.
Wonderful.
I walk. You know, when Brick Bodies was open, I used to go there and do some exercise, and do the therapy pool. You know, because of my arthritis, I have to go therapy pool, and then enjoyed it. And jacuzzi, I met a lot of my friends there, mostly the same older age, a little bit older than me, but who are retired. So that's one thing that I was looking forward to, and now that it's closed, I miss it. Yeah.
So that's something that you'll look forward to doing again once
Oh
we go
yeah,
back to
definitely.
normal.
I don't know when it's gonna be because it's a swimming pool. You know, you cannot really go distancing on it. Yeah, it's a small pool, but meeting
Right,
those ladies, you know, that's
right.
fun. Yeah, yeah. So I just walk in the neighborhood every now and then. Yep.
Mm-hmm. That's
Yeah.
good. Well, Delilah, can you share with us about your faith journey, how you came to know Jesus as your Savior?
Oh yes, it's one. This my journey is really very interesting. Okay. My church or in the Philippines is called Philippine Independent Church or Gregorio Aglipay. Gregorio Aglipay was a Catholic priest who got out of the Catholicism and founded his own religion, which is called Philippine Independent Church, said or Gregorio Aglipay named after him. But the rituals, all the Eucharist, the services of the Catholic Church is exactly the same. Okay. Um, the only difference with my church from a Catholic is we don't have a pope. Our the highest person in our church is the Archbishop, Supreme Bishop, who sits in Manila, the biggest city of the Philippines. And then we have bishops, we have priests, and the priests can marry. So it's most likely like a Episcopalian church here, right? And we don't do confession. So those are actually the only three things that is different from the Catholic Church, you know. Um, so my father's father or my grandfather, I never got to meet him because he passed away when I was born, was a priest in that church. Okay, and my uncle, my mom's youngest sibling, was also a priest. So just imagine, how can you go to, you have to stay in that religion. Yeah. We went to church every Sunday. My dad required us to go to church every Sunday. Mom stays home because she prepares breakfast and take care of the younger ones. So we went to church every Sunday. Dad was in the choir. My aunt was very, active in church. My aunt was his older sister of my uncle, who's a priest. She sings in the choir. My dad sings in the choir. And so that's how we know Jesus. I don't remember reading a Bible. Yeah, to be honest with you. But I don't remember. But then we listen, we pay attention in church. No hunky punky like what these kids are doing nowadays in where I live. We pay attention to the priest. It's about an hour and a half. Sir, I have to call that in service, or 1.5 hours. Yeah, it's a long one. And interestingly too, there was, when I was in my elementary, there was a Filipino priest who gave the service or the mass. I mean, mass in Catholic in Spanish, because, and then we also have mass now in English or in our own dialect. In the Philippines, is like 700 dialects. So, but we have the Bible in our dialect, Ilonggo, which is in my island, and then we also have it English. So, but then Dad just always reminded us about the 10 Commandments. Number 1 is honor your father and your mother. Okay, so, and he was a very disciplinarian, being in the army during the war, and we always do our tasks, do our emphasis on education, and we're all just obedient kids. If trying to be obedient. Yeah, never talk back against your parents, especially to my dad. Sometimes you probably talk back when it's not facing you. Otherwise, yeah, really have to be good, helping with the households, cleaning every weekend. That's the thing, cleaning every weekend, do your own laundry. Yeah. So anyway, yes. So I grew up, and then when I went to nursing school, I went to CPU, Central Philippine University, because it was under Baptist Church, Baptist religion. We were required to, when I was when my last year of nursing, we stayed in the dormitory. Was mandatory for all of us to go to church in the chapel in the university. There's a chapel inside the campus. Then after that, you can go to your own church, but you have to attend the service in this church. Okay, and we have a subject called religion, which is a 2-year course required for every course. We studied different religions. We studied the Bible, and then every Wednesday, I remembered. So what's this thing about Wednesday? We had this devotional, called devotional. That's like we do with our small group, you know.
Mhm.
So I said Wednesday, I guess because it's in the middle of the week, right? Yeah. And we have once a year, I don't know if it's once a year, we have this Christian emphasis week, because that's the motto of the school, science and faith, you know, because the missionary said you have to have faith. They always tell us, you know, you have to live like Christian, follow the Lord and all that. Christian emphasis week, we have speakers, you know, we have this hall we call Rose Memorial Hall named after the missionary. And then I remembered the speaker or the pastor or whoever is the who say, if you want to accept the Lord as your Savior, you have to walk down the aisle and go, and then you know you profession. I don't think I didn't do that. It was in my, but being with in this campus with all this, you know, um, I say Baptist. Well, we have Baptist, we have evangelical, we have Methodist, of different religions in the school, we have Catholics and all that. You know, we have foreign students. So, but it was just like it just getting to me that I need to. It was like I have a satisfaction going to our church, to the church and school. That one day I decided, said, well, I'm gonna convert to Protestant. We call it all Protestant religion, Baptist. I want to be baptized. So I already had my name, the program for that Sunday to be baptized. But lo and behold, my father knew about it 2 days before. He sent a letter, said, come home. I knew mom is sick. I know he wasn't sick. So he stopped my conversion to, you know, to Baptist religion. Yeah, because he was really into sticking to my religion. He said, you dishonor your uncle, you dishonor your grandfather. He said, what did the Bible say? Honor your father and your mother. So I did that. You know, he said, you are still under my roof. I sending you to school, you know, because I didn't pay for my education. My parents sent me to school. He said, you can do whatever you want with yourself once you're out of school. So that was it, you know. And then I came to America. Uh, going back to the school first. See, we're so disciplined in nursing school. In my last year of nursing, when we're in dormitory, before we go to the hospital, we have to sing the national anthem. And then we had to go to, we all in a jeepney or a small bus. We had to go to the hospital. And then we had to have a devotional in the chapel there before we go out to our, you know, assignment. So that was all like, they really emphasized that. When I came to America, I could not find the church. Well, in New Jersey, I found this Episcopal church. I went there a couple of times. So the administrator of the hospital was Episcopalian. So he picked me up and my other friend to go to church. Then the rest were in New Jersey, and all my friends were Catholic. And I know you know, the Eucharist and all that Catholic church, because that's where my church back home is almost like that. You know, so yeah, not till I saw the church here. I live close to church. I'm still looking for. I've been to like Jewish synagogue even, you know. So I said, oh, let me check out this Presbyterian, this Covenant of Grace Church. So I went there one Sunday. I got welcomed really, and I really liked it. And then that's when I said, I'm gonna join this church, and I got myself converted, baptized, we call it, about over 15 years ago.
Mm.
Yeah, so, you know, yeah, I think my background in university really got me into my Christian faith. Yeah.
Since we've been quarantined, is there a particular verse or song or anything that has been special to you, or something that's been an encouragement to you during this time?
Yeah, I have a couple, see if I remember. The first was so easy to, it was only a few sentences. On Hebrews 13:5, what's that? Yeah, Lord said, I will never forsake you, I'll never leave you nor forsake you. Okay, and one is Jeremiah 29:11. Correct me if it's wrong. The Lord said, "For I know the plans I have for you, the plans to give you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, and a plan I give you hope and a future." Yeah, especially this pandemic, Yeah, yeah,
Those are both really good ones.
yeah, yeah.
Really good. Well, thank you, Delilah, for just being willing to be interviewed and share with us your story. It's a wonderful story. And I'm so glad that you were able to meet with me through Zoom. We're thankful for this technology.